Hello and welcome to another Writer's Showcase, everybody. I am your host, Lord Captain Commander Dub, and I am very pleased to be here with my wonderful guest. Let's bring him in 1 second. There we go.
Oh, yes, that was a riot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll probably have a short one today, I think, but it'll be good.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
Let's see what happens. I've not read any of my Harry Potter parodies in years, so I was looking over the book 3 parody yesterday, but I didn't think it was very good, so we'll see what happens with the book 4 one.
I see.
Maybe I was just feeling picky last night, I don't know, but
Quite possibly.
and I guess the fact that she's part Dementor is kind of funny. The Mary Sue character is part Dementor is kind of funny, or she has part Dementor relatives anyway.
Okay, that's quite amusing, to say the least.
So I guess that part's kind of amusing, but well, I mean, she's part Centaur, part Mermaid, part this, part that, you know. And that gives her lots of angst, of course.
Clearly.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it? Wouldn't
Oh, yes.
So it's just kind of a tie-in.
Alrighty. Well, shall we get... Alright. Since you're eating, I will just read, and then you can read. I'll just read for a while since you're out until somebody else comes in, which is probably not going to be very many people. It's probably just going to be a short one. Alrighty.
Uh-oh.
What?
Yep, it looks like, Aspiring and Huisia are not going to come in. Maybe we'll get lucky and Yuri will turn up and read some long involved. This is kind of unique. Yeah, his are kind of unique.
I would agree. They're definitely unique stuff.
Yeah, interesting though.
I would agree. Yeah. Alrighty. Alrighty, so the second Dragonstrife. Let me pull up where we're at. I think that we were on chapter 4. The scramble for power.
Yes, that's kind of what I remember happening.
Mm-hmm.
People scrambling in power and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is the most important thing in the world, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Shalia watched Shard and Arene carefully as they talk. started talking to various lords and ladies, most of them from Runish, Sitharan, or from Camelane. She knew at least the Sitharans, Camelaners, and Obarans were on her side, but she hadn't been able to convince the Runish princess to meet with her. Shard had worked far faster than she had ever anticipated, and he had Irene's support, which was likely why many of the lords were gravitating toward him, backing Shimara's claim. How did he figure out that we were going to have a vote? Julia wondered. Irene couldn't have told him. He either worked it out for himself, or he was told. How could he have figured it out while so many others didn't is odd, but it's not too far-fetched. However, his preparation for this is impressive, to say the least. This is all very exciting, Amelisa remarked as she walked up. So, what's our move? Currently, Shelia thought for a moment. Would you be willing to work out a date for our union? Amelisa nodded, then put her chin in her hand, obviously thinking carefully. That was one thing that Shelia liked about the younger woman. She was thoughtful, not quick-witted, but rather contemplative, more concerned with making the best decision through thorough deliberation. I would, though likely it would be in the future, since it would be best not to be seen as a scandal or too much of a payment. Good thinking, Shelia nodded, glancing toward Bale. Her husband was chatting comfortably with Liliana, one of his good friends from when he was a child living in Camelane. Good, he's working out some deals for his vote, she thought. Well, let's figure out some dates, but we should probably mingle with some of these lords and ladies in order to figure out who would be the best prospects for allies. All right, Emily said pleasantly. Then she walked up to chat with some Haragian dignitaries. Well, I suppose I should decide who to talk with. Shelia flicked her eyes around the room. Well, Natriana is probably going to be our swing vote, she sighed. I'll talk to her. Amelisa shrugged. See where she sits so we can best figure out how best to get her on our side. I hate having to rely on someone as inconsistent as Natriana. Julia took a deep breath. She's actually fairly consistent. You just have to analyze her patterns. Elise folded her arms and started tapping her chin with her fingertips. She has a pattern of using her body to break down barriers, as well as using her trade position to allow us to go up north with the dwarves. Parthia and Harag have been paying fairly high tariffs just to use her rivers. But do you think we'll get her on our side? Shelia had to admit that she hadn't paid any attention to the infamous light skirt, mostly because she hadn't thought of her as that politically savvy or important. Do you think that Irene is completely on his side? Amelisa asked, nodding toward the pair, discussing something with Neftiri and her brother. Yes, Shelia grimaced. They've been infatuated with each other since they were children. It's the only human emotion I've seen out of that man. So, is he one of those people that tortures small animals for the pleasure of it? Amelisa asked. You're more familiar with him than I am. No, that breed of monster is predictable and easily dealt with. Shard is a cold, emotionless wolf in human clothing. She narrowed her eyes at Shard as he plastered on a smile that never reached his eyes. There was always the look of a predator about that man, but nobody else seemed to notice or care. Perhaps the urine on his arm made them overlook those cold, colorless eyes, carefully examining them. Shelia shook her head. I haven't seen him in a long time, but now that I get a good look at him, I can see what he is. So, let's mingle. So Amelisa nodded to another group. Yeah, let's. Feeling less than eager, Shard let Irene lead him to Natriana and her little gaggle of hangers-on. She was wearing the latest Ashen from Rune, high collar, but with no sleeves and bare shoulders, on top of being form-fitting. As soon as they got close, the Runish lady turned her green cat eyes on them and quickly dismissed her coven of useless prating hens. Shard hated everything about this. She's unreliable, lustful, and uncontrollable, he thought, though he disguised his true thoughts behind a smile. But she's the best shot of getting what I want. Shoddy boy! Natriana smiled. And Irene, it's so lovely to see the two of you together. It's quite cute. Shard kept his face calm. He always hated that irritating affectation that Natriana put on as a smokescreen. Pleasure to see you too, he said calmly. Always so controlled, Shardy boy. Natriana grinned at him. One of these days you need to loosen up and show that humanity that you're hiding. If I needed it, I wouldn't have discarded it years ago, Shard thought. Maybe someday. He put on a smile. Well, maybe someday. The smile on Natriana's lips was quite knowing. How'd you manage to get this wolf to heal, Irene? She asked, not taking her eyes off Shard. I used to think this one didn't have any real emotions or human needs. He does, he just needs the right incentives. Irene patted Shard's arm, much in the same way that you might stroke the head of a prized hound. And what could possibly motivate him? Natriana asked, eyeing Shard up and down like she might a stallion she meant to break. Power, legacy, and a long life, Shard thought. But Irina didn't say that. A legacy that will be written in the histories for all time, she said, offering her hand. And we'd like to get you on our side and carving our names there. Close enough, Shard thought as Natriana took the extended hand, but she didn't do it with more than a light grip with her fingers. What do I get from such an offer? She asked, a slow smile spreading across her face. I have money and a legacy. Well, I'll be written about at least. Ernie smiled and stroked Natriana's cheek. Well, what if we could offer you something priceless in exchange for your support of my sister? Oh, your sister, is it? Natriana leaned into the affectionate touch, then stroked the hand in return. Now that is interesting. So you're not making a bid for the throne. No, too many demands on my time. Keeps me from being on the throne would keep me from doing anything actually important and doing actually important and meaningful activities. Ernie shrugged and ran her hand down Natriana's bare arm. You know you're the swing vote. You know that the decision lies with you. However, what can they offer you? Amelisa is going to marry Bale, so you're not going to be able to stylishly squeeze your way in with him and Shalia. We have something that will enrich you, but we also have something that will sweeten the pot for you that they can't give. Natriana's green eyes shimmered with interest as she casually took a glass of clear wine from a passing waiter without him even stopping or upsetting the tray. Well, 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 the unyielding and stoic blade master Shard Dragonless is willing to bend his precious self-restraint to get his lover's sister on the throne. Thankfully, she lowered her voice at that last. Now that is priceless. So, what do you think? Irene asked. I think you've been doing most of the talking while he's kept markedly silent. Natriana pointed toward Shard with her pinky. So, what do you say about all this? When Chimera is Dragonlord, you will get what Irene has promised. Shard kept his voice as neutral as possible so as not to show his distaste for this woman. This whole thing is ridiculous. Oh, but she hasn't promised me anything. Natriana took a sip of wine. I'm going to need it in writing, and if I don't get what I want, I'll circulate it as wide as it can go. Irene tilted her head. Actually, Why don't we give the sweetener first, and then the actual benefits of the deal can come after? Shard's face tightened, and Natriana's smile abruptly grew wider. And finally he shows something real, she indicated Shard again. I think that's fair. As soon as I get that sweetener, you can have my vote. Sounds like a deal, Arini. And he extended her hand again. This time, Natriana took a firm grip on the princess's hand. What exactly is the actual deal? She asked as she shook Arini's hand. A canal running all the way from the Dwarven Mountains to Parthia. Arini smiled. I've already begun planning the route. Natriana's eyes widened. Now that is a grand endeavor. She nodded slowly, then bowed. Let me know when to expect you both. I'll make sure to keep it private. I imagine our wolf in human skin might be quite worried about that. Quite. Shard forced a smile. So stiff, Natriana patted his arm. Shard had to carefully control his face and body to stop from betraying the fact that he did not want her anywhere near him. Maybe we can fix that. Maybe, Shard shrugged, but I find that self-restraint in doing what that is rational is always preferable to self-indulgent impulsivity. He didn't say that, though. Well, let's figure something out, Arini smiled. That's the end of the chapter.
Oh, well, that was entertaining, and I can see I definitely ship Shard and Atria. They need to get it on. We need to see where they get it on. But he's still stiff where they get it on. But he's still like controlled and distant where they get it on. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, there's always politics is always fun.
Indeed.
And the way they bribe each other. Well, not bribe each other. Apparently, they're basically bribing the lady,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I guess it works. Pretty much, the election works.
Yeah.
I did notice a bit of an echo. Let's see, the smile not reaching his eyes from Littlefinger, but I don't know how many people would actually notice that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I might need to take a look at that, make sure that it doesn't repeat unnecessarily. It's kind of to display that Shard has a few sociopathic tendencies. Or at the very least, he's tried very hard to make himself appear / think sociopathically.
Yeah, so basically, he's trying to get something for himself out of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to. But then Atria also wants to get stuff for herself, but she makes an attempt at pretending to be charming about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's just better at pretending to be charming about it. Even not that she's necessarily charming either.
Mm. She's kind of deliberately playing the airhead.
Yeah. She's like...
Yeah. It is kind of fun to use certain mannerisms from some of my favorite characters. One thing, like, I like the one of the people in Yu-Gi-Oh! He calls everybody Jaden Boy or Yugi Boy or Kaiba Boy just all the time. And I thought, oh, okay, I can use this. This is a really, really annoying affectation that would piss this guy off.
Yeah.
Extremely stiff.
There was a really annoying It was an RPG. One of the characters, not my character, kept calling everyone after like pop culture figures. He would call my character Jar Jar or Sparky or something, and he called the lady who was traveling with us. He called her Mavis. I don't know who Mavis even is, but anyway, the point is he would throw in all these pop culture things from the time. And
Mavis, huh?
yeah, I don't know.
Of is from Hotel Transylvania, but it's probably a reference.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're all they're all pop culture references of some kind. But I don't get. And also he was a vampire.
Hmm.
My character was a Balrog who spoke in a bizarre dialect where he mangles all the letters in his words together. Which may be why he got called Jar Jar.
Hmm.
And being a Balrog, he was grouchy.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I actually am trying to find Mavis's, and I can't find any Mavis's other than from Hotel Transylvania.
I would bet that's it. How old is Hotel Transylvania?
Hotel Transylvania came out 2012 was when the first film came out.
That's weird because this is way before then. This is way before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is like a whole decade before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it's kind of just an obscure vampire or character.
Yeah, or maybe it's something that was really, really in the year 2000, but it's now like, whatever, dude. No one even remembers it anymore.
Okay, so fictional characters named Mavis. An obese young fairy incapable of flight from Will-O-the-Wisp. Mavis Freestone, a singer in the Death series detective novels. Anthropomorphic animal character in the Funny Animal series.
Maybe the obese fairy. I mean, she's an elf.
Possibly. I'm looking at it, and I am not finding any. Oh, interesting. Okay, apparently there's a Mavis Ming title character of Michael Moorcock's transformation of Miss Mavis Ming, part of his Dancers at the End of Time. I'm actually really interested in getting into Michael Moorcock's work after hearing a lot about him.
Apparently he influenced Gurm.
Yeah, I had heard that as well, and I agree with that. That basically, like Lightbringer is like Stormbringer. He even name drops Stormbringer as a possible name for Widow's Wail.
Oathbringer.
Stormbringer.
I know, but there's also Oathbringer.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have to take a look and see if Sanderson was influenced by that, because he puts a content restriction on himself. Like he didn't finish. I think he got through the first of Song of Ice and Fire book and then quit.
What? Wuha did?
Sanderson. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, he was like, the sexual content was just too high. I just did not like it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's really cringe too, the sex bits.
Yeah. he's also LDS, and we tend not to. And it's only like a few of us that really are fine with stuff like what George R. Martin writes.
Yeah. Oh, Yuri's offline.
I see.
Well, on the other hand, no, it's Dunn's mouthpiece. I think something with Dunn in his name is offline, but that's not you.
Yeah, that's Skids.
Well, I suppose I could read, but I'm still eating, so it would be a bit awkward.
No worries. Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting that you just kind of like after Hera's the Battle of the Seven Suns, you're like, this empire needs to die. I do think that's funny.
Well, I mean, emperors usually do die eventually.
They do. This one, I haven't really decided. I don't believe that it's going to fall.
I mean, you've got all these people who want to rule. You could end up with a situation where they have a civil war. Of course, the Roman Empire had civil wars long before it actually fell. So you could have a civil war, things could split up, all sorts of things could happen.
I've actually had 2 civil wars already. Yeah, since this is book 5, and the last one was book 4. There was a long-running civil war that happened a while back that got resolved by the 2 brothers marrying their kids to each other after a long war.
Yeah,
or
and
to unite the kingdoms.
empires fall and then unfall. Like China fell and then unfell a number of times.
Yeah, there was like the 3 dynasties and the 10 kingdoms, wasn't it? I forget the exact numbers.
Yeah, and there's like warring states and stuff.
Yeah, apparently it was the generation of a lot of great poetry, but it was a nutty, insane, chaotic time in China's history.
Yeah, there was a lengthy period between the Han dynasty and the Tang dynasty, and then when the Tang dynasty, and then after the Tang dynasty started, there were a few more interregna, but not as long, except for the Mongol rule.
Yeah, the Yuan dynasty.
Yes.
Yeah, the Yuan dynasty is an interesting one because it was founded on globs and globs of blood, but it was the most stable that area had ever been after Genghis Khan finished taking the area. That people could safely go from Europe to China without much difficulty.
Yeah, there is that.
But it was after Genghis Khan systematically depopulated and then repopulated the area.
Yeah, Genghis, not a nice chap.
No, he's definitely not a nice chap in a lot of ways, at least not to his enemies. It seems like he was a little bit better with his friends and co-work and subordinates, but with his enemies, he was just absolutely nightmarish.
It would be pretty bad if he were as bad to his friends as to his enemies. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, want to get massacred? Come over tonight. We'll have some fun. And we'll get you massacred.
Yeah, I know that he actually didn't know whether his wife was pregnant with his child, but he still treated the kid like he was his heir for a while. Well, I think since Bortai was his. Oh, go for it. Sorry.
Well, I just said that's nice.
Yeah, at least like that's kind of the theory because she was in captivity by another clan for a little bit too long for it to really be Genghis Khan's son.
Oh, that must have been lovely.
Yeah.
How romantic.
Yeah. Yeah, she was his favorite wife, I believe.
By the way, I have noticed that you've changed your name in the Discord to Blightlord.
Mm-hmm. I figure it was appropriate.
Yes.
I am quite... You either call me... I won't call myself Brat Lord, but I will be fine with Blight Lord or Psycho Lord.
So Bratlord is a little too rude, is it?
Not too rude. I just won't call myself. I think it's amusing when you call me that, but I'm not going to call myself that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, you know me. I don't really get mad at being called names.
No, you don't really get mad at all. Well, rarely. I think I saw I got mad once.
Yeah, I think it was just I was like a little bit frustrated with Mr. Commando.
Yeah.
Hey, dear. How's it going?
Oh, did somebody else turn up?
Trip.
Oh, hello there. You missed all of Brightlord's story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. A bunch of creepy people trying to bribe each other.
I love that you called them creepy.
Well, I didn't say they were bad. I don't say it was bad. It's just that they were creepy.
Or at the very least, very straightforward. It's just like, no, we're making a deal. Deal here. There.
Yeah, but it's a business proposition.
Yep.
Ugh. Yep. Well, I'm almost done with my lunch. Maybe I'll begin eating. I'll be reading in a moment anyway.
Cool.
Because it's still another 10 minutes, quarter hour before I'm actually done eating. So I may end up starting to read beforehand. What happened to the others? We don't know. Actually, Aspiring said he can't make it. Sorry.
No, you go.
Huicia said he doesn't have anything, and then Aspiring said he doesn't have anything either. And Yuri has not been heard from.
Yeah. So it's just going to be a short one today with a little bit of shooting the breeze in between by talking about historical stuff, writing, a little bit of writing stuff.
And Blightlord's new nickname. New/old nickname.
Yeah. Yeah. Which are you going to be reading? Your Harry Potter parody? Is that the one you're going to be doing today?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the chapter, the one on book 4. We'll see how that turns out. The funnier ones, I think 5 and 6 parodies are the funnier ones because Dumbledore's a bit of a jerk.
That's a change. How?
Which is it's just sort of more explicit. It's just a bit more. Yeah, he doesn't pretend not to be a jerk.
He doesn't put on the genial old wise man
Really.
veneer.
Or maybe he does. I don't remember, but no. But he's more like. But like, because it's all refracted through like teenaged YA fangirly lingo of the time. Yes, quite right. I should say fake teen lingo, because you've heard of the trope, the totally radical trope.
Indeed.
Yeah. So even if I weren't a parody, it would still be that trope. Not to mention, even the parts of it that are current were current like like half dozen years ago or more. So this is the pre-simp slash tism slash what was that other word?
Cut.
Chad era.
Yeah. Indeed, it's yeah, they keep. I just look forward to the day when it's added to when all of this is added to the dictionary, if it is even added. That would be incredibly amusing.
Oh yeah, they will add all that to the OED. I can promise they will eventually. They will.
Yeah, if they can add stymie to it, they'll probably, and that becomes pretty much a staple of almost every book in existence.
What, they're every book in existence will have the word "shad" in it?
Anything that focus on the 20s.
Yeah. Yep. Oh
20s,
God.
2010s.
God help us. It'll be yes. Let's see.
Mm.
Mm. Let's see. I mean, I could start now, but I'd have to periodically interrupt it.
No worries. Yeah, sorry I can't start earlier. I'm not sure what time church will rotate to next year. It'll be interesting to try and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But something like church, I mean, if you were said, "Well, I'm busy gaming until then," I'd be like, "You can game later." But going to church is another matter.
Yeah, there's actually like moral commitments going on there rather than pursuits. It's
Don't you love that voice I gave you?
what?
That voice I just gave you. Whoops. Don't get sick again.
No, it's just phlegm buildup that's part of my recovery.
Okay. So.
Yeah. But at least, kind of slight spoiler, but it's not much of a spoiler since we know that Hera is really, really old at this point. We do see her die. In this book.
She's gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
And the last word in the book is tism.
I think that tism is a derivation of retard art or something like that, or something in regards to the spectrum, which is why I generally try not to use it, since I believe that one of my cousins actually is on the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a fair number of people in the group who are more or less on the spectrum.
Yeah. 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 Kind of really depends. I know a wisp is definitely on the spectrum, so as she said it frequently, and I believe her because she doesn't get certain social cues. But Wisp, I like Wisp, even if she's a little bit too passionate about certain things. May have a teeny weeny bit of apophenia, but hey, that's life when you're on the internet. Sometimes you
Yeah, I
develop.
mean,
Go for it. Sorry.
sorry about that. I'm not really big on the politics, but I guess whatever.
Yeah, it's just not even like the politics. It's just like seeing connections that really don't exist. Just because you hate the other side very passionately for how they personally wronged you.
Yeah, but it's not even they. It's like a certain group of people who may.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not an entire. I mean, I wouldn't. If someone on the right were obnoxious to me, I wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily blame the entire right for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happened to Wisp was that she got harassed very, very consistently by a bunch of different people due to the fact that she wasn't the right kind of trans person, and that it stunted her transition and has done some significant measurable mental health stagnation to her.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
Yes, and she actively hates anything to do with communism because she's grew up in communist Germany.
And she probably has a fairly broad definition of communism too.
That's actually accurate, yeah. Since I imagine that since she was living in, I think it was East Germany, right? She was at least behind the curtain. She she has a personal and vested hatred of all things communist or anything that vaguely smells of communism.
It would have to be very vague because we don't have because the communism here is like nothing, like a tiny, tiny, tiny minority.
Hmm.
Oh no, don't do that. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a minority, but it's just like it seems like anything that smells of of like communist tactics she hates, like communist reprogramming tactics.
Oh, that I wouldn't have any experience with.
Hmm. Yeah, she sees most of the entertainment industry as engaging in that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I would say the entertainment agency has very little to do with communism.
Oh, definitely. But she's like, these are similar tactics that they're using to try and reprogram people with their annoying propaganda. Which I'm just like, this is probably just pandering to a specific group that they want to get money out of. But the problem is these people don't stay long enough to really give money to these corporations because they're not. Most of the people that are like long-term fans that will give money at infinitum to companies are more people that are on the opposite end of the political spectrum, at least that I've seen. Um,
I mean, the sense that people on the right might have more money.
that is also true. They also are generally, it just seems as though they're more passionate fans are on the right end of the political spectrum. Like Nerdrotic is fairly right leaning. Overlord DVD, The Quartering, Ryan Kinnell, Geeks and Gamers, a few other types of people and they stick around with franchises, whereas people who are on the other side don't generally stick around with franchises like that.
Well, there are
will
plenty
jump around.
there are plenty of left-wing fans of House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones.
That's true. I mean, like,
exactly.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of just like it seems as though with that one, its high quality is kind of overridden the woke stuff in it. You know, it's very, at least by virtue of the attempts of politicizing it by the showrunner, at least one of the showrunners, which
so
I
that's
found very frustrating.
Well, I don't remember much. Yeah, I remember they showing people were saying kind of silly things, not even just political things, but kind of silly things.
Yeah, like the whole explanation for Rainey's was really stupid.
Or explanations, but yeah.
Yeah. Since there were two, one is the meta reason and one was the pathetic in-world reason.
Kill it.
Yeah. Or kind of stuff like a lot of Claire Kilner's comments were frustrating. Most of Miguel Sapochnik's comments were frustrating, and I'm glad they booted him, or that he left, rather, since I don't get the sense that he got booted. I get the sense that he just left because he's tired and not interested in Westeros anymore, which totally understandable.
Yeah.
Poor guy was put through the ringer with Dumb and Dumber.
Yep. I'm mildly surprised it came back at all.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well.
Let's see. There we go. And now I really am almost done. Pardon the eating noises if there were any.
So you're almost me?
Not kill it! Oh God! I said no, not to use the word "done" in this server. I should have learned by now. Keep walking right into that one.
Sorry, whenever you use the word "done," I have to say you're almost me.
I know.
What a compliment!
I know. I waltzed right into it. I know. The world is a vale of tears. Now, let's see what happens because I'm actually ready now, ish. So let's see what happens with this one. I don't know how good this is going to be, but we'll see what happens. Chapter 4. Gerardina saves Cedric's life and stops the bad guy from killing Harry and stuff. But there's this really annoying teacher who thinks he's so great. Part 1. Gerardina and Harry went to the Burrow Witch's Ron's house, and it was cool, and there wasn't any perv pimps who hated magic, but he, made her take some prostitutes along for the Quidditch game so the brothel could make money, and, and, no, don't do that. Make money, and Miney was there, and Geraldine and Miney and Mrs. Weasley did each other's hair, and Geraldine liberated Miss Weasley from housework and said Mr. Weasley had to share. And Harry was happy because he wasn't with the Dirtsies, even though they aren't as bad as they used to be. And when they made him eat Aunt Marge's dogs, so when he asked questions, they still sucked. No. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Even though they aren't as bad as they used to be when they made him eat Aunt Marge's dog's poo when he asked questions, they still sucked. And they went to the Quidditch game World Cup, which was between Ireland and Bulgaria, and they was very stereotypical, and the Leprechauns was lame. So Girardina supported Bulgaria as an act of defiance against conventional values, and because she's 1/3 Vila, which I forgotten before. And this guy named Crumb was totally cool, but the other players was boring. And above them, Winky the house elf was keeping a place for someone named Crouch, who was a big ministry guy and really liked shirty and stuff. But no one was there, and Girardina's powers said that there was someone there who was invisible and bad, but no one cared. It's annoying when this happens. Okay. After the game, Malfoy and some other jerks oppressed the Muggles who ran the place where they had the game, and also the prostitutes, but at least the prostitutes make money out of it. Later, by suing the pimp, because they was being waved in the air by sickos, wasn't in the contract. And they run and hide in the woods and heard someone say, Montmartre, and a big skull appeared in the sky eating a snake, and everyone freaked out because it was a symbol of Waldemar and was saying, Lettre le néant, which is French for I rule. And Crouch turned up and was like pissed off, pardon my language, at the elf and fired her. And of course it was because the invisible bad guy had got it away, but no one knew that yet, though Girardina guessed. They went into Hogwarts and stuff happened. And this year, their defense against the dark arts teacher was moody, but Girardina's lemon power said he was hiding something, and maybe he was having an affair with Deanna Troy. He did unforgivable curses on people, and Harry resisted, and Girardina laughed as resisting them was easy, for her at least. Because she's special and has a tragic past. And Girardina made a quiz that said, what kind of unforgivable curse are you? Oh yeah, that fad. What kind of a this are you? What kind of a that are you? There used to be all these idiotic quizzes online. Probably still are. Anyway. And there was a lame new history magic prof who taught advanced classes and was called Count something or other. And his fake foreign accent was totally put on. And he made like he knew everything. That's Girardina's job. And he had a girlfriend named Sexina who was hot, but what she did at Hogwarts wasn't really like clear. And the school was hosting the Tri-Wizard Tournament, which is when a student from each school does stuff in front of judges and gets famous. So the students had to put their names inside the Goblet of Fire, which was this cheesy McDonald's cup, because McDonald's was sponsoring it and using the tournament as an instrument of domination. But you had to be 17, which is unfair and child abuse. The schools were Hogwarts, Beauxbatons, or something which is French, and Durmstrang, which is foreign. And Cedric, who was cool and came from Hufflestuff, which was marginalized by the other houses, was chose for Hogwarts. And Fleur, who was part Vila and thought she was hot, got it chosen for Beauxbatons, and Crumb got it picked for Dorset or Durmstrang or whatever, where there was farmers that had hated modern stuff. Oh, God, that's such an obscure reference. Sorry. And then at the end, the names Harry Potter and Derrydina come out of the gobbler. Derrydina was the only one who knew how her name got in there. It was a spell she invented when she was bored. But no one except the bad guy knew how Harry's name got it in there. And the head mattress, a gold beetle who was Madame Maxine and was half giant, though that was supposed to be a secret. And Kazarov, the headmaster at Drumstick, was ticked off and said Dumbledore was a jerk. But Dumbledore said someone was probably trying to kill them, but they had to play anyway. And Ron was jealous, and he and Harry wouldn't talk to each other, which was dumb. So Derrydina got PO'd and turned lesbian. Has no one but me read Habermas? Said Derrydina. Probably, said Ron. No wonder you don't grasp communicative reason or communicative rationality, which distinguishes itself from the rationalist tradition by locating rationality in structures of totally interpersonal linguistic communication rather than in the structure of either the cosmos, which is a magazine with scantily clad women's, or the known subject, said Derrydina fervently. Like, whatever, said Ron. He was kind of dumb. The only other cool thing that happened was when the fake, whoops, we don't know that yet. I mean, Moody turned Malfoy into a ferret, which is an animal, and bounced him. Oh, I forgot all about that part. Hagrid made Harry and Ron and stuff do an experiment where they had to have sex with the blast-ended screws, which is a big lobster things with claws and stings and sucky things, and write a report. And Ron said, I'm not having sex with those things. They're ew, fervently. Me neither. Let's just make something up. Pardon me, said Harry fervently. A moment. That's cheating, which is bad, said Miney fervently. And the first thing in the tournament was a secret, but Hagrid told Harry it was dragons, and someone also told Fleur. And Crumb and Derrydina knowed it because she knows stuff. And she and Harry told Cedric. And when the day come, they had to get the golden egg from the dragons, and everyone was scared except Derrydina, because she knew dragons was just misunderstood. So Harry tricked his dragon, and Fleur and Crumb cursed their dragons, but Derrydina tamed the dragon by doing its hair and its nails and stuff. So the dragon made friends with her and give her the egg. And then they had the Yule Ball, and Harry was dumb and went it out with Parvati because he didn't know. He and Derrydina were destined, and Ron was even dumber. I mean, it's so totally obvious he and Miney are going to get together, but he got in some other girl and was a lamer. And the girl's eyeshadow sucked, and her dress was crap. No one wears that anymore. It's so last week, dude. And Cedric was with Chu, who Harry thinked he was in love with, and Fleur was with pretty much all the Weasley guys, and Crumb was with Miney, and I think they did sex because Miney got her sexuality waked by the blast and screws. And I'm not sure why she was so popular because her hair was like so way. I'm sorry, but you never know with guys. They don't know hair. And this paragraph got cutted by the new teacher who thinks he's a hotshot, but he's really a lamer. In Winky joint Elvanon, which cured her of being a drunkard, which is someone who is drunk. And the so-called count teacher summoned Eredina to his office and said, I'm going to stop you from mucking up Hogwarts with your big ego. You are a risible fanfic cliche, which is lame. So I'm determined you're not in the rest of the contest. Eredina laughed charmingly and said, you can't stop me. Your self-insertion in the narrative sucks. I've done loads of cool stuff, and you didn't do anything because you sucks. And he said, 50 points from Deradinador, which was Teradina's house. And I forgot to say that earlier. And she said, only Dumbledore can take points from me. But it turned out the new teacher could too, which is unfair. But to make up for it, they let Deradina come to staff meetings and make rules about eyeshadow. They should have made her a teacher. She rules fervently. Let's see. How long have I been at it?
I think about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, in 15, 20 minutes, then I guess I better stop. I have to do part 2 next time, I'm afraid.
Sounds fair.
So that was more amusing than I thought it would be. That's good.
It's a unique book, to say the least.
Oh yeah, it's yes, it's
definitely self-aware though, which I find amusing.
Yeah, I don't know why all my parties get so meta, but they tend to get fairly meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I do think that the self-insertion talking to the parody characters very, very clever.
Then I for a while for these later books I have 2 self-insertion characters so that I could tell Dumbledore that his pedagogy was kind of rubbish.
Pedagogy? Remind me of what that word means exactly.
His philosophy of teaching. Educational philosophy. Pedagogy.
I see. Thank you. Yeah,
Sure.
I'd heard that word before, but I wasn't sure what it meant.
Yeah. Isn't pedagogy pedagogical? Yeah. Pedagogically speaking, Hogwarts is not particularly enlightened.
No, they're definitely not. They're clearly got some serious flaws in their administrative system and hiring practices.
Yeah. Which is why Dumbledore sucks.
Yeah. I do love, and it is interesting to see that the reasons why they hired Gilderoy Lockhart. Where it's just, you might be able to learn from a bad teacher. Man, I'm interested. Scheduling is going to be an interesting hurdle to overcome over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Be going on.
Yeah, because we've got the Willow and we've got the Harry Potter. So we're doing Harry Potter on Wednesday afternoon around 1-ish your time.
Yeah, and then just watching the movie, and then after we finish watching the movie, we'll watch the next. I'll watch the next episode of Willow with whoever is left over.
But, yeah, we'll see if I'm still around or not.
Yeah, all in all, it's going to be 4 hours, which is 4 hours of good stuff, and then 4 hours of crap. 2 hours of crap. 2 hours of good stuff, and then 2 hours of crap.
And Codex comes as soon as I finish reading.
Yeah, get better soon, buddy. Yeah, he was feeling ill, as far as I remember. Well, I think we'll have to call it good for today. We'll have just a short one. Anyway, we'll reconvene next week. We'll do a Willow stream on the first 2 episodes, and then we'll do the next 2 episodes Thursday, I think. Well, I'm not sure how I work it out. I just know that I want to at least get I think Willow, the series, is going to be streamed after we finish Harry Potter, and then we'll watch the next 2 episodes Thursday. That's the idea. Then we'll just stream Harry Potter and then Willow on consecutive days next week.
So the review stream for the Harry Potter 3 and 4 won't be until the week after next then, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay.
At least that's the current idea. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out some logistics with the limited time available.
Yeah. Well, if you really need someone to come on for the Willow review, I could come on, but I wouldn't be able to say anything that was very remotely informed.
Yeah, I think that I should be okay. It'll be mostly talking about the show is really boring.
Well, I mean, I'm only dimly aware even of the show. I mean, I wasn't paying much attention. Then I had to go on my walk, so because it was kind of late, so I had to go on my walk. So partway through episode 2 and episode 1, I wasn't paying much attention.
It doesn't really have that much to offer. It doesn't really have any redeeming characteristics. But anyway, we will call it good for today, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Have a riot.
The fact is, Starscream, despite your treachery, I've allowed you to carry on this long because I took a certain delight in following your string of failures. But you finally become tiresome, predictable. You've hit rock bottom.